welcome everyone to the Magical Frequency. On today's episode, I wanted to actually do a reaction to a video I was watching today, and I will leave the creator down in the description. It is one of them large faceless manifestation channels that break down like science and all this stuff, but this specific video I really ended up falling in love with, so I figured let's do some commentary on it. I'm pretty sure this is fair use. I'm pretty sure like when I used to watch all the drama channels back in the day, they would take videos from other people and then do commentary on them. And then there was also other clips from this person or whoever this is that they were taking from other YouTubes. So I'm just doing this in the name of education and giving my commentary on some of the things. So let's jump right into this. And first of all, I want to just say whoever was doing the editing on this was amazing, because it ended up having some really beautiful visuals, as you will see. So a shout out to whoever is doing that. Your editing is really nice. So let's get into it. The first thing that they bring up is, I'm pretty sure this is Rev Ike talking about like angels and spirits and the angles and light. In another video, I brought up the fact that light plays into this whole matrix thing, and I'm going to talk why this is all tied into the simulation theory. So let's listen to see what he says. And I do have this on like 2 times or like 1 something fast, because I don't want to use a lot of the video. I just want to use those very specific points that really hit home for me. And the beginning was a really awesome beginning. So let me play this here.
Are those spirits who represent the Most High and who fly around with wings and live, whether it's in Herod or some of the lower heavens, and do the biddings of God himself. That is a fundamentalist interpretation. I do not decry a religion. I do not argue religion. I say that is only one interpretation of an angel.
Is those who mastered the angles, those who could bend light rays.
Like that he says here, those who have mastered the angles, and I know that relates to like the angels that they're gonna say. And again, back to the checkerboard theory, it's all about that square, the angle. Is the one theory about, you know, equal angle parts, all that again plays into this. Let's get back into it.
Those who could bend light rays. It mastered those who could understood the 4 rays of consciousness necessary to exist on the 4th dimension, which Earth was supposed to have been into millions of years ago, but got held back by HUE-Man.
This part I absolutely love. This is hysterical to me. Isn't this on like a Pink Floyd album cover too? Like, I love this whole, whoever edited this is fantastic.
Have you ever, in Latin, homo means man, humanus means humans, and humus means soil, suggesting a strong link to the basic understanding, and is referring to the color vibration.
The reason that you see me, the reason that I'm skipping through this video is because there was very specific instances that I wanted to really discuss. And here is the emotional vibration chart. And what I was saying, why this is all tied into the simulation, is because there's the frequency and the energy and the lowest, middle, highest. And everything is that signal that we're sending back to the simulation. So that violet, you know, according to everybody, seems to be the largest energy or the highest energy field. And it was really interesting when I was doing Reiki work and they were coming around to me and they asked me what color I saw when they were doing it. It was purple. And this actually did happen. I saw purple. Like, there was no reason for me to say purple. It was what was happening at the time. What I was experiencing was purple, and or violet, whatever you want to call that. And again, I think that's that signa, that aura, that electrical energy that is like radiating around you, that you are signaling out to the matrix, to the universe. And he actually talks about like the matrix not coming from the movie The Matrix, that it comes from I think it's like the Bible or one of those scriptures or writings, that it essentially means womb. But I do think it is a matrix insofar as like a matrices, and I work in Excel all the time, which is like another thing to connect it all, like grids. How often do you see grids? And I think that all has to do with it as well, into the whole light thing. And this is just really expanding on the whole idea of how light plays into everything.
Or HUE, that man is emanating from his being at all times. In order to understand how this relates to us, let us first develop a basic understanding of the functions and qualities of a hue. What term best describes a hue? The attribute of a color by virtue of which it is discernible as red, green, etc., and which is dependent on its dominant wavelength and independent of intensity or lightness. As human beings, we are akin to a distinct attribute of color, a quality that allows us to be associated with a specific hue within the spectrum of existence. Each individual is defined not by the physical body, but by the mind. It is the mind, the essence of our intellect and spirit, that attuning itself to various frequencies that shape our perception.
And this is, again, something where we're attuning our frequency to those specific feeling states. So if you are in a feeling state of sadness, you will be in that sadness feeling state. And they actually talk about like denseness and rising above those states into a less dense state, which I find completely fascinating.
An experience. This mind does not exist in isolation. It dwells within the mental plane, a shared realm where all minds across the universe, much like a signal.
And he's saying that all minds are interconnected. And for me, this is basically quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement proves this. And again, it leads it all back to the matrices, that everybody is connected through matrices, through the simulation.
Based on the frequency to which our mind is attuned, thereby receiving insights and ideas related to wealth generation.
And that's why I made money in the simulation, because once you are in these quote unquote less dense areas of consciousness, or just levels of attunement into the all ever consciousness, your mind opens up to so many other possibilities. You understand you can see all possibilities, or you can see more possibilities. And you see is the wealth possibility, and you expand upon that wealth possibility by seeing all the avenues where you can make money and have wealth come to you.
Our minds typically operate on a singular frequency, one that is influenced by our habitual patterns of thought. Each frequency in turn corresponds to a specific color within.
That's why you don't want to become hypnotized by anything, because we are creatures that like repetition, we like simple, and if you are allowing other people to program your mind, it can be pretty easily done if you're not aware, not using discernment, and you're not being cognizant of the fact that this can even happen to you.
The astral plane. Thus, the mind, in its constant state of activity, manifests colors based on the frequency at which it resonates. Should the mind be filled with feelings of hatred, it might project a reddish hue.
I find this concept fascinating, that if you're resonating like in the shame, guilt, apathy, you're down on like these red colors. And I've always known that like the chakra systems and the colors, and I've even like talked about it in my other ebook that I wrote, but this whole thing, why it ties back to the simulation theory, is because you, depending on the level of emotional state that you're constantly resonating in, this causes a electrical spectrum around you that radiates specific light colors, just like a rainbow. So it's funny, the other day I was going over a bridge and saw a rainbow, and this is all like the prism, this is all how light reflects through certain angles. So I think this all again plays into how light has a key role in what we experience here in the 3D.
Concept leads us to a profound understanding. The term human can be seen as representative.
Article 26 shows white light entering a prism. Okay, and this is interesting.
I love
what happens
this guy.
Is the white light enters a prism and then deflects or comes in an angle in all various colors. The colors of the spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. Which, as we've come up to the conclusion, this is really Joseph's coat of many colors, and that's what it is. So we're seeing white light, which on an angle enters the universe and then enters us. And then we have to say, okay, then this is an angle of light.
So I don't know if you saw that whole, that image that he had on the board, that the white light, and then it comes up, and then it comes through the angle, and then it, which would be us, I guess we would be the filter, and then we interpret how we want to interpret that, and then we radiate the color of that emotion that we're experiencing.
Then this is an angle of light.
Refractive properties refer to how light changes direction, or refracts, when moving between different mediums. When Sir Isaac Newton first passed a beam of sunlight through a glass prism, he witnessed what we now call the dispersion of light. This process occurs when light enters the prism and splits into an array of individual colors. This happens because light is composed of waves with varying wavelengths. Different wavelengths bend by different amounts when they pass through a substance like glass. Electromagnetic spectrum that human eyes can bend, least refracted, and violet on the other, most refracted. In Newton's experiment, when light passed from air into the glass prism, it changed speed due to the difference in density between air and glass. This change in speed resulted.
That's where the whole point comes in, where if you're radiating in these lower vibrations, you are in a more dense environment. And then once you start to radiate those other emotions like happiness, probably awe and excitement, you go into that like ethereal plane where it is less dense and you are just, I don't know, up here feeling fabulous.
Resulted in a change of direction, an effect known as refraction. Why is this important, and how does it relate to us? At the core of our existence, everything is light. Prior to Einstein,
I do believe this. You see that they put Tesla. I completely believe in a lot of the stuff Tesla said, and you can see 3-6 on my neck. I know people will probably think I'm crazy for that, but I honestly don't even care. I see this number cyclically always leading me in some sort of awesome direction, and I'm going to keep following it.
Scientists sought the luminiferous ether through which they believed light must travel. Luminiferous, meaning light-bearing, was the postulated medium for the propagation of light. The ether was assumed to be weightless.
But why does that sound like the Lucifer? What is that? What is that about?
Transparent, frictionless, undetectable chemically or physically, and literally permeating all matter and space. With the formulation of the special theory of relativity by Albert Einstein in 1905, and its acceptance by scientists generally, the ether hypothesis was abandoned as being unnecessary in terms of Einstein's assumption that the speed of light, or any electromagnetic wave, is a universal constant. Everything, from the tiniest particle, resonates at specific frequencies. These vibrations form the foundation of reality. During lower vibrational states, such as depression and anger, one feels the density of that.
So this is the part where they're talking about like density, and I find this extremely interesting, and I do believe that this is probably how it works, especially when it comes to like resonating and getting the clear thoughts when you're like in the simulation. I need to play this back actually.
During lower vibrational states, such as depression and anger, one feels the density of that slower resonance vibration. The body feels tense and tight during anger, or lethargic and heavy during depression. In higher resonant states of consciousness, one feels light, free, and happy. We intuitively see red as a dangerous warning color, demanding of attention.
I will see that too, like depression makes you feel heavy, tired, like miserable. And then like when you're in a good mood, you do feel light, energetic, happy, I completely agree with this.
We see purple as royal and majestic. Colors are not merely visual phenomena, but are manifestations of light vibrating at different manifest as a deep red. We can use this prism as a metaphor for enlightenment. Creative light, or pure light, passes through the medium of man. This light is refracted into different colored hues based upon the vibration of the medium it passes through. Rightly so, some may argue that destiny is predetermined and destination. The difference in the change in speed of the creative light depends on the density of our vibration. If we're in a low, slow, dense frequency, such as fear or depression, where all focus is on outward circumstances outside of our control, the light passing through will change direction to refract a reddish hue. However, when creative light passes through a high resonance being, the light of our control, the light passing through will change direction to refract a reddish hue. However, when creative light passes through a high resonance being, the light refracts on a complete.
Yeah, so basically what they're trying to say here, it's like if you're in a good resonance state and you have like the light passing through you,
completely different angle.
You're going to resonate with different colors and you will get different experiences.
Due to less density, it evolves into higher states of fluidity. Reality is composed of multiple planes of existence. As one ascends to higher, reality becomes increasingly fluid and formless. We'll get more into why this is important when we talk about the planes of existence. The lower the state of consciousness, the slower the vibration, the more dense the matter, and the further we stray from the light. However, when we transcend the density of the flesh and resist the lures of lust, greed, envy, hatred, anger, etc., through meditation and prayer, our frequency elevates into empathy, compassion.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, it's not the only way that you can do these things. You don't only have to like meditate to achieve these. You could just have a fantastic mental diet and really be emanating frequencies of gratitude all day, it will just get you fantastic results. It's not something that I think that you necessarily even have to, do all these extra things to do.
Increase sight. You will literally feel, quote unquote, light, free, and happy. Think of it much the same way that solid matter transmutes into a liquid, then into a gas. So our vibratory states oscillate between dense heavy matter on the physical plane to higher, more fluid states of consciousness on the mental plane. Matter is rigid, dense, and heavy. Liquid can move between mediums in a number of ways. This is why Bruce Lee said we must become like water. Lee stated we must become formless. Water is powerful, not because it is rigid or unmovable, adaptable. By being flexible, water can change direction, go over conscious of outward circumstances.
One of which is called the solar plexus. And just a little bit below it, above the spleen and above the navel, you will have a neuron center. That, I claim, is your animal brain location. So that is why, in the Oriental philosophy, in the Yoruba philosophy, even amongst the ancient Zulus, concentration upon the solar plexus, you are an animal. What did they say? My stomach got in knots, I couldn't talk, I just felt pain here, and I was all uptight. That is your animal brain talking. Remember, the sons of God will awaken to the power of using the
Begin to ask yourself, what color am I thinking in? What color am I feeling? Ideas of wealth don't come to those What color am I thinking in? What color am I feeling? Ideas of wealth don't come to those
I like this idea. What color am I thinking in? What color am I feeling? Like, are you resonating on that purple vibe? Like, what's your color vibe? Like, are you on purple vibe today, or are you on blue? Look, I'm on blue vibe today. I picked this. I didn't even realize that I did, but really, honestly, it all sounds so true to me. Like, there's so many different things that make this make sense.
Acting in a dense red hue. Joy cannot flow in low vibrational states. Inspiration cannot function. Divine knowledge cannot flow. The gates will be shut off, and external circumstances will consume the mind. The high vibration HUE-Man can bend angles of light by changing its refraction due to elevated states of consciousness. When this is practiced consistently, when purple hues of royal love emanate from one's being, deeper dimensions of insight become accessible. Back in 1978, Commander Wayne...
Yeah, I do believe that if you, especially like if you do a lot of like inward thinking, thinking that feels good, you definitely can come across like some awesome ideas. And this next part that he's talking about, hemi-sync, I'm not going to talk too much about this because I do believe in this. I actually can link a ASMR video that I created, like a creepy version of this, that was inspired by this, because I do believe that this works. I believe that brain entrainment is a great tool to be able to focus and to be able to meditate, to be able to visualize, whatever it is that you're trying to do. I love it to fall asleep, to be honest. Like, I know there's so many, in my opinion, different reasons that you can use this. But I love the hemi-sync experiment. They came up with all this cool documentation proving that the world is a hologram and all this jazz. So I'm not going to get into all that, but it was I'll let him play a clip of it, but it's very cool.
About the nature of reality. Investigators ascertain we live in a holographic universe, and waking life is a projected electromagnetic matrix. The goal of the HUE-Man, then, is to transcend the prime resonance frequency from the lower realm of the flesh, the realm of survival and instinct, to the Holy Land.
Yeah, and you don't want to sit, and I've said that in so many videos, and other people have said this, like, you have to get out of that fight or flight stage. You cannot live in a state of scarcity or fear.
Makes seeing possible. Light makes it possible for you to see, but you can't see light. And when light oscillates at different speeds, you see colors. But light, basically, which is the energy that we're talking about, and we have to talk about light as an energy because the Bible itself says God is light. So then we all of a sudden understand that if light comes down at an angle, which all light enters the earth from the universe at an angle, so we have an angle of light, or do we have what you would call an angel of light? And when that angle of light impacts the earth, it creates cellular energy, and it causes an arc within the receptors of the brain, so now we've got an arc angle. And when those receptors experience that arc, gates open within the logic circuits of the brain, and you start to think.
I love when he says you sort of think. I think that that's just, like, I definitely agree with that, but then I agree that it's up to us to then choose the thoughts that we want to resonate with, to send those signals back out to the simulation, to then to where we're dictating what we want in our future, so to speak.
You start to understand.
Reality exists in various layers, each seamlessly blending with the ones above and below it. Each layer emanates from the one preceding it, forming a continuous spectrum. As we ascend these layers, they become increasingly abstract and intangible. Conversely, descending the layers results in a denser, more concrete manifestation. The highest levels of existence are ethereal and shapeless, while the lowest are firmly grounded in the material world.
This right here is so interesting to me, like this whole, whoever made this layers of reality diagram, you know, I think it's really cool. I think that that's just like somebody's opinion of like what those are. But I do believe in that higher pyramid of hierarchy, there are infinity realities. Like I see infinite possibility in like lucid dreams. Like I feel like that would be in greater realities. I don't know. So like it's all perspective here, but I think that what they're trying to say is just once you start becoming enlightened, you start to elevate into different like realms and realities where you can see the possibilities. You can see all the different avenues. You can be peaceful. You have mental clarity. It's like, you know, that pure consciousness state. I have the capability to do this. It's just up to us whether or not we want to achieve this, if we want to, you know, pursue these types of endeavors.
The planes of existence have been explored through various interpretations, charts, and philosophical frameworks. For the purposes of this video, we will concentrate on 4 of the most universally intricately shaped by the higher dimensions of mental imagery. The mental case. From spiritual, this dimension is where thoughts exist, not as creations, but as transmissions received, based on the frequency at which our...
I'm not going to get into also like all the dimensions, because that can sort of start to get like confusing because for me, like we have infinite amount of realities, and I get all the like different like dimensions that people like to say that we're like there's 11 dimensions, but like you know, there's 11 dimensions, but then there's infinite possibilities. Like it gets hairy, but I do think that essentially, regardless of the dimension, this is all the simulation. Like I don't know if the top dimension would be like, you know, the biggest God body who created the simulation with us, so we could all like discover ourselves. We're all in a state of endless discovering ourselves, in a state of expansion. I think this is a state of like gathering information and having a good time. Like I definitely think that data is there for us to get, data of excitement, fun, and joy for the consciousness, if you will, for the universal consciousness.
Mind operates. Every thought, idea, and concept, vibe, and gesture symbolize a contemplation of the mind and the cosmos. No answers can be found there. Only dark the light, and you change the matter. The thoughts associated with them. To these frequencies, we align ourselves with the thoughts associated with them. This plane of thought is entirely formless. To these frequencies, we align ourselves with the thoughts associated with them.
Yeah, and I agree. Like whichever type of here's another chart that somebody came up with. Again, all charts and pyramids and different ways to structure ideas that people are coming up with. And this chart is really cute. I see it has ascending awareness, and basically when you're in these fear states, it's hard to get these better ideas. It's hard to get ideas that will be $1 million idea. It's hard to get out of vibrations when you're in these type of vibrations. Like solutions feel not to come easier to you. You feel like a victim mentality. Things might feel very difficult all the time to you. And as you move up out of these, I guess what these lower dimensions are, into these higher consciousness, you see all the solutions. You see that everybody is one. You see that we're all connected. You see that this is all a lasting cycle, that we are all here to wake one another up, experience life, and just keep sending back information to consciousness like over and over. So our consciousness as a universal consciousness just continues to expand and grow, and the simulation continues to expand and grow. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video and enjoyed this style of just reviewing somebody else's video that is really intricate and crazy and out there, but is so much fun and is awesome. And shout out to this faceless YouTuber. I do appreciate the work that has been put into this. So channel that I was able to create this review tonight, or you know, this reaction video to this. So I hope you all enjoyed it and it added value to your day. And As usual, I hope you all continue to manifest magic and resonate on your highest frequency. Bye, guys.